So many of you know that I was at J6 in 2021 when the violent insurrection took over. No, I didn't conspire to take over the government. I wasn't violent. I simply trespassed into an open building. But that didn't stop the federal government from hunting me and hundreds of others down in the 4 years of political persecution that destroyed many families, including mine, and almost destroyed me personally. And I always get a lot of people that ask me, how do you talk to people about J6 when they ask? Well, that happened this weekend when a liberal asked me at an event, weren't you at J6? I'm gonna show you that full clip right now. How's it going, everybody? David Medina here. Please like and subscribe to the channel and turn the bell on for notifications. If you're on X or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, at David Medina PDX is my handle. Go ahead and give me a follow. Thank you to all of my new followers and new subscribers who are just now learning about me or just now following me. I appreciate all of you. You're welcome here. I don't even care if you disagree with me. You're welcome here. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just keep it respectful. But I am a little bit about my story. So a lot of people don't understand or don't know that I was at January 6th in 2021. I committed the heinous crime of trespassing inside an open Capitol. When I got there, the Capitol was open. A lot of you know the story. If you want to hear my full story, I have other videos, or you can go on my website, thatdavidmedina.com, to hear about it. But basically, man, I'm just going to be completely straight up. It was I had ups and downs, and a lot of downs the last 4 years, where I didn't want to continue. I didn't even want to live at one point, and God was always there to pick me up. And so I try to help people battle their mental battles, and if they're stuck or if they're feeling like they don't have any hope, I help people. We do a mental health Saturday every Saturday on my Instagram. I do an Instagram live. I field questions about grief, about relationships, marriage, all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of like using what I've learned these last 4 years. I learned a lot about myself, man. And if you guys are out there and you're going through something, just know that when you go through it, it always makes you stronger. But that depends a lot on you. Are you going to give up? Are you going to give in? Are you going to dig the hole deeper? Or are you going to use this to make you tougher? And so that's kind of my message to people, especially men that are struggling today in our country. And I was, I was headed for prison. I was headed for prison. My crimes were disorderly and protesting, picketing on federal grounds. It was entering a restricted building, basically like glorified trespassing. And they tried to say I broke Nancy Pelosi's sign, but there was a video of the guy actually broke the sign, so that charge wasn't going to stick. But that didn't stop the media from running with that. But basically, I was headed to prison. They arrested me last February, like the second week of February. At the time, I was working for the state of Oregon at McLaren. It's a youth correctional facility. And I got fired. And then 2 days later, the FBI called me in and they put handcuffs on me. And I'll show you the picture of that. I've only shown that once publicly. For the first time, I showed that last month of me in handcuffs, the Oregon State Police with the FBI putting me in handcuffs. I'm going to show that photo in just a sec. But then November 2024 happened, and the country overwhelmingly reelected Donald Trump. And I was in the mindset, see, this is how I think. Whenever there's a tough time ahead of me or an uncertainty, I keep balanced thinking, man. And I'm telling you, it will get you through anything. Because my thing was like, well, Donald Trump's, they're not going to let him win, so I'm probably headed to prison, and that's just going to be another story in my book, and God's going to turn that into beauty somehow. Like, I had so much peace about it, right? And let alone my mom died last year too. The same week that I got arrested, my mom died. So I was going through it, man. And but the crazy trials I've been in my life helped prepare me for last year, and I it was a roller coaster. I got divorced in 2022. Lost the love of my life, and my wife is 6 years, and lost a lot of friendships and opportunities and jobs, and I don't know how I got hired at the state of Oregon because it was before I got arrested. They obviously didn't do their research, but I love working with youth. I've been working with youth my whole life, so I just thought I'd give it a shot, and they're so understaffed there that they hired me. But anyways, November 2024 happened, and I teared up a little bit when they announced Donald Trump was going to become the 47th president of the United States. I teared up, and as not just for myself, but for my country. It was so weird. I wasn't like relieved in a way for myself. I was relieved for my country because we had gone through such hell the last 4 years. It was such a bad 4 years for our country that I was just happy for the country. And of course, me and my family, I was more happy for my daughter that she didn't have to see her dad go to prison, which me and so many others did not deserve to go to prison, let alone get arrested for walking into an open Capitol. But we all know how they handled that. It was a political persecution, all to get one man, Donald Trump. Here was me in the Capitol Rotunda on January 6th. This was from People magazine. I made a lot of outlets that day. This is just me waving a flag. People accused me of stealing that flag. That's a Capitol flag. I did not steal it. I left it with a Capitol police officer. I was encouraged to steal it, but I didn't because I'm not a criminal. And but that's me waving the flag, and this is the People magazine. And so, I let out a tweet back on January 20th, right when Trump took office, which was my attorney has. It was announced that my J6 charges will be dismissed with prejudice, meaning they cannot be brought back on me again. Thank you, President Trump, for keeping your promise. Let freedom ring. I still want to have a freedom celebration. I've been so busy, but I really want to have a celebration where we can all get together as conservatives and just celebrate freedom, celebrate Trump's win, celebrate my freedom as well as everybody else's freedom that had to go through this crazy 4 years. Some people didn't get through it, man. Some people killed themselves that were being persecuted by the government. Some people had to rot in a gulag, and I will never understand why it took them 3 years. They raided my house in March of 2021, 2 months after, and they arrested me 3 years later. Like, it doesn't, someone who was either doing me a favor within the FBI or something, or they just lost my paperwork or whatever, or something. I don't know. I would love to get to the bottom of that someday, but here are some pictures. Here's the picture of me. This is the Oregon State Police putting me in handcuffs, taking me into the car from the FBI office, which is by the airport, PDX airport, which is about 25 minutes from downtown Portland. And they were transporting me to downtown Portland to the federal courthouse to be held. This was me in handcuffs, and this was an FBI agent. He put the handcuffs on so tight, and this was the Oregon State Police officer, who was amazing, by the way. He was putting handcuffs on me right there, and he was loosening the handcuffs. The FBI agent wouldn't loosen them. They were so tight, and I was like, I'm not trying to do anything, please, man. I'm like, I can't feel my hands. And the FBI wouldn't loosen my handcuffs, and the Oregon State Police was like, oh, come here, man, and he loosened them for me. I wish we could get the dash cam footage of me in the car, because I was just talking so much crap to the FBI agent. I was so pissed. My daughter was there. She had to go through trauma again. When they raided our house in 2021, they cut down all the cameras, came with like 10, 15 agents. I'm going to show you footage of that from my neighbor here in just a sec. And they pointed guns at my daughter, who was 13 at the time, pretty much home alone. My brother was asleep. He was in the garage. He was staying in our garage at the time. This was 3 years later after that after raiding. She had to go through another traumatic incident of seeing her father being walked out in handcuffs because the Democrats wanted to treat January 6th as a political football to get Trump. And so here are some videos. Here's a video of outside of my house. This is the FBI in the city of Sherwood. They closed off my entire road. And I mean, this is like so ridiculous. They have my brother in handcuffs right here. This is my brother. He's in handcuffs. The FBI agents have him in handcuffs. My daughter's over here. You'll see. She'll come into the picture. I was in the air from Orlando on a business trip from Orlando to here. And they met me at the terminal with 6 agents. And it was actually just a crazy story. My phone was ringing off the hook when I landed. My wife at the time called me, was like, the FBI raided our house, and they said they're going to meet you at the gate, but they're not there to arrest you. And so this was video. This is, again, my brother, and then my daughter right here. And yeah, man, it was so crazy. They had no evidence, and trust me, I'm not done with these people. Like, I have been actively looking for an attorney to sue the DOJ blind, because they did all of this against me and so many other people that simply walked into the building. We didn't commit violence. We didn't break into the Capitol. We just walked in. They wanted to make an example, and they were willing to twist the law to make an example out of all of us. And they were willing to do this kind of stuff. I mean, this is crazy, man. My dogs could have got shot. They could have done a lot of crazy things. I don't know why my other videos aren't loading. Let me see if I can get those in there for you guys. All right, I'm resending them right here because there's more. I have more videos from this. Oh yeah, here they are. Okay, here is more videos. This FBI chilling in my driveway. Just chilling. My neighbor's shooting this. At the time, my neighbor's shooting this. This FBI agents, this Agent Grubb right here. Just a bunch of clowns, man. I don't even know if they're just following orders, but I have no respect for people who play into people who feed in and play along with the law being politicized, because that's not how the law is supposed to go. So here's the Here's more of the video of the FBI, man. I mean, there's like treating me like I'm some terrorist, man. Actually, like crazy, insane. Our country, we're gonna look back at this history and we're gonna be like, wow, we actually allowed that to happen to Americans. And I'm not like, trust me, I don't play victim on anything. When I'm wrong, I will tell you I'm wrong. This was ridiculous. The fact that they came with agents to my, oh, it makes me so mad, to my house and to other people's houses and to families. And you saw that video of the FBI agent pointing a gun at a baby in a crib, or like her gun was pointed towards the baby, totally careless. Going after us because they wanted to get one man, they wanted to make one day look like something it wasn't. Were there bad apples on J6? Absolutely, yes. And we're gonna play a clip because I had this lady come up to me, okay, over the weekend. I was at Ron White, and he's our senator.
Were you at J6? I was wondering.
Yeah, I was. Sure.
Were you?
So this lady came to me and said, "Were you at J6?" And a lot of people are like, "Do you get nervous when people ask you about J6? Like, is it hard for you to talk about?" Absolutely not, because that whole experience made me stronger. It made me who I am today. I learned a lot about myself, and if you're going through something, you'll learn when you go through it. Don't be the victim, man. When you go through a storm, you learn a lot about yourself as a person when you push through it, and you get stronger for the next storm, and you get stronger and stronger and stronger, and then you become like freaking Donald Trump, where he had like got shot, 92 felonies, dude wouldn't give up, and then became president. Like, that's not because Donald Trump is just psycho. It's because he's gone through a lot. If you read anything about Donald Trump, he's gone through a lot of crazy stuff in his life that has brought, and his upbringing from his father made him who the man he was today. We're all, and this is what's so great about aging, is like you go through things in life. That's why these kids come out of college and they're so unprepared, and they come into the real world and they get chewed up and spit out, and they start crying, and they start, crying everybody else's fault, and they join, like radical groups, and they do things that are, drugs, alcohol. They turn to all these things that to mask the pain, instead of the pain is good, man. What I've learned over the last 4 years is pain and suffering is actually good. You're not going to do anything of worth in your life without going through pain and suffering. Pain and suffering is what makes you successful. You can't talk to anybody successful in this world. Anybody. No millionaire, billionaire, nothing that will tell you that they didn't have to go through pain and suffering to make them the person that they are today. So embrace suffering, man. Like don't let it eat you up if you're going through something right now. I mean, I went through the craziest time of my life the last 4 years. I thought about giving up. Those thoughts are going to come. That's okay. But don't give up. Keep pressing. Keep moving on. So this lady came up to me over the weekend and said, were you at January 6th? And I was like, and this is how I responded.
Sure.
Were you at J6? I was wondering.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
Exactly.
Yeah, I trespassed. Yeah, my bad.
Okay.
I didn't know I was trespassing, but because the Capitol doors were open. But I guess you guys stopped reading on that, huh?
So the lady that said exactly, she was the Miss Know-It-All. I have a video of her my exchange where she kept doing this stuff, interrupting and stuff, and being her. This is her friend talking to me, her liberal friend talking to me, who was really cool. Actually wanted to have a productive conversation, and her friend was just off the rails. And so that's who you hear me talking to. But she later on in this video says that she was like scared to come up to me because of how brainwashed she was by the media. And I love these exchanges because it really gives me a chance to undo some of that programming and brainwashing. That's not even her fault. She seems like a smart lady. She said she was a counselor. She seems super smart, but she was so conditioned by the media. And I'm sorry, but the people on the right, there's right media that do this too. We have to stay balanced. We can't let the right media, left media dictate like our beliefs and feelings, right? We have to do our research, man. And so this was my chance to really get through to her.
Okay. Can I ask you why?
When I got to the Capitol, it was already open, and I walked in. Didn't assault anybody, didn't call for any kind of taking over of the government. And so anybody that went in, they went after grandmas that went in there, that were literally in there for 10 minutes and just like walked right out. They went after them for that, and we're putting them in prison.
True.
I mean, do you guys agree with all of that? That's insane. It got out of hand. I know you're reading articles that are like, hey, they want to get you emotionally charged about J6, like it was some...
This is not just reading articles. This was broadcasted live across the nation. So, I mean...
Well, you said you were pretty scared to talk to me. Why would you be scared over something that was 99.9% peaceful?
I mean, that is not what I saw, and I
It
don't
was
know.
those people fighting, right? So there was like hundreds of thousand people there.
This is something that really needs to be deconstructed.
Okay.
Okay, when you were talking about going down, breaking some windows, right? Whatever. Even if
Yeah.
you light something on fire, wrong, not okay. That is different.
So she's making the argument right now. She's about to make the argument that the Portland riots and the J6, okay, two different events, cannot be compared. You cannot compare them because J6 was so much worse, and J6 was about taking over the government, insurrecting, and January 2020 was about, or the riots of 2020, like in Portland, like we're talking about here, were just random acts of protest and violence, and you're going to see my answer to that.
Then going to our capital during the day in which there is supposed to be the transfer of power. Do you see how that is an attack specifically on the government to keep it from moving forward, as opposed to a protest that anarchists, all of that, they need to get in trouble, right? But like, those are two complete different things that don't.
So you
So you notice how she called it a protest still? See, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, we have to be real about stuff. Like, a protest doesn't last every night, and it involves violence and attacking a federal courthouse and attacking police officers and throwing firebombs and Molotov cocktails and just basically destroying your city and your city's reputation for, like, you know, they called it the Summer of Love because it lasted throughout the whole summer. It wasn't just like one protest.
You think that it's you think that but you think it's less serious that people in downtown Portland were firebombing police, were attacking police, actually hurting police, and I know police officers that were there for the Portland riots that are still going through therapy because of those. Because of that.
That is
So
completely wrong.
you're trying to downplay what happened in 2020 in Portland to what happened on J6. I'm telling you, Portland was way worse than what happened. Now I don't.
Way worse than what happened. I'm telling you right now, the riots of 2020, I was there. I witnessed this stuff because I'm covering it. Part of what I do is journalism, independent journalism. I covered it. I'm telling you right now that the riots of 2020 doesn't even compare to January 6th. I was at both. If you weren't there and you're just going off the media, you have nothing to say here. Just like some of these girls say that men can't talk about abortion because it's not, you have no reason, you have no right to talk about the facts if you're just seeing it through the lens of these cheesy freaking documentaries on HBO or the CNN documentaries or anything through the media. You had to have been there. And I'm telling you, January or the riots of 2020 were way worse. And this guy's going to say, well, he's about to say right here, well, I was at the protests of 2020 and I didn't think they were worse. Well, sir, first of all, you weren't at January 6th. And you also told me prior that you were at the riots of 2020 when it was peaceful and you ended up going home before it got out of hand. So
I don't think it was way worse.
Well, you were probably there during the peaceful time, right? When people were peaceful. But, well, what you don't do is I'm sorry you got lumped in with it. You shouldn't have got lumped in, but that's kind of how I felt, was I got lumped in, but I didn't just get lumped in just with, like in society. I got lumped in legally.
I didn't
Like
really
they came
get
and
lumped in
arrested
with
me.
anything.
They raided my house like I was some kind. I've never been in trouble with the law.
I trespassed on January 6th. I trespassed, didn't even know I was trespassing, but I walk into a Capitol building and they come and raid my house. Articles about me everywhere, calling me an insurrectionist, calling me all kinds of names, smearing my reputation. Don't worry, they didn't win. Smearing my reputation. They come and raid my house, ransack my house, turn it upside down, cut all my security cameras off, point guns at my daughter, and then arrest me and take me to federal courthouse where I had to sit in a holding cell with like two Mexican gangbangers. I knew they were Mexican gangbangers because they had tattoos. They had gang tattoos. And we were trained to recognize gang tattoos when I was working for McLaren, for the state of Oregon. The training I went through, we were trained to recognize those. And so I went through all of that. And do these people even know how many cases from the 2020 riots that were dropped by the DA, Mike Schmidt, by the Portland DA? How many people had their cases dropped that were all violent, that were assaulting police officers? Like this is what I'm talking about. It's called a two-tiered justice system. The law should never be political. It should never favor the right or the left. The law is black and is you either broke the law or you didn't, with intent or you didn't. And unfortunately, the Democrats have politicized it the last 4 years. They really did a lot of damage to our country because now everything Trump does or everything that Pam Bondi does in the DOJ is going to be looked at through the lens of political. Never should be like this.
And they raided my house because I walked into the Capitol building, and then they took texts out of context that I was texting privately with my cousin, joking around, and they took that out of context to make it look like I was someone I'm not.
Okay, but can I ask you, but it is serious, right? Like, let's just turn it around. Let's say that Biden, let's say it was Democrats doing that.
Yeah.
Well,
they did do it. They did do it in 2017. When Trump became president, they were attacking the White House. If you go look at video, I'm being serious. You can even do it right now. Go look up video when Trump won the election in 2016.
Okay.
When he took office in 2017, there was a riot outside the White House. They had to take Trump down to the bunker. There was violent, right. So I'm saying,
then what do you think about
I'm just saying we have to be
Trump pardoning all of them, including the leader of the Proud Boys?
Do you think he should have pardoned me?
I mean, that's not the question.
You think I should have gone to prison for
No, I'm not saying that.
Well, it goes into your point.
Well, we are talking about our government. Those people, you were not tried, convicted, and put in jail. So obviously not.
I would have been, 100%. They just didn't get to me in time because they had to get to so many people.
We don't know, right?
There were people with similar.
That's fortune telling.
Well, no, it's not.
Actually...
Well, can I tell you why it's not? Because people with the same exact charges were put in prison that I had. They just didn't arrest me until 3 years later.
Literally, the Lord looking over me. I mean, this is why I'm so loyal to God and Jesus, because the fact that I never saw inside of a prison cell when they raided my house 3 years ago, and for some reason they didn't arrest me until 3 years later, and then I was going through the court process, and then Trump won in time to pardon me before I could even see court, before I even went to trial. Dude, there's just no explanation for that. And that's honestly, that kind of stuff has been the pattern of my life over the past like 20 years, where God has just shown up in ways where I was toast, or I, was in sticky situations and the truth prevailed and God came through for me, all because I was just, keeping him at the center of my life. I just, it's just unbelievable what I mean, this story is, to me, it's probably not to the outside person, but to me, it's supernatural.
I was going through the court process, and I would have been put in prison because with the same charges they were putting other people in prison for, which is nonviolent trespassing. I mean, I didn't even know I was trespassing because the doors were open. I mean, if I had officers saying, no, you can't come in here, I wouldn't have gone in there. Like, I just wouldn't have gone there.
Well, they were being attacked, but yeah.
No, they weren't being attacked. A lot of them weren't being attacked. A few of them were. And this is what I'm saying. You have to do your research on January 6th, because what the media showed you is what they want you to see. It's not what actually happened. I was there. And I'm going to tell you, yes, there was bad apples there that were committing violence, and all of the but there was also, you can even look in videos. There were videos in there.
Yeah. Of course, not everybody was violent.
Police officers.
That is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not an arguing point.
Okay. Sounds like a counselor, doesn't she?
The thing is that do you feel like those people who were violent and were pardoned was okay? And what does that say to the party that is law and order?
The people that attack police officers, I think, and I've said this multiple times, the people that attacked police officers on January 6th and that broke into the Capitol should have absolutely been held accountable.
So what does that mean to the American people that now is the new standard?
So Trump didn't pardon every single J6er. There's still some that he's looking at. So time will tell on that. Those ones that were really violent.
Let's talk about the ones that he actually did.
Yeah. So like the ones like me.
Leader of the Proud Boys. What does that actually mean to the rule of law?
The Proud Boys, okay, so I know the Proud Boys guy. I know you think he's super bad. We all, I don't agree with the way he does stuff too either, okay? But he wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th. So why the hell did he even get charged?
Well, there's racketeering and conspircy. So, I mean, we have
She's got an answer for everything, doesn't she?
So I don't know how you can, the Republican Party can say we are for law and order, and then we pardon people that hurt.
They were pardoning people like me that didn't deserve to have their lives ruined for walking in a building.
Okay.
That was wide open. If you really want to put blame on January 6th, Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of D.C. denied the National Guard request that Trump requested. They denied it. They denied the request for 10,000 National Guard troops to stand around.
I've heard two sides to that.
Okay.
There's not two sides to that.
But what is it?
How do we know which side is true then?
Yeah.
If you believe you're
Literally the best question that any of them asked me that whole day. How do we know which side is true? The answer is none of us really do, right? That's why you got to look at things from all sides. That's why I follow all news organizations. I don't just get my news I don't even get my news barely from Fox. I get my news from CNN. I get my news from independent journalists. I get my news from firsthand accounts. If there's a big event that happens, I'm gonna go look at the firsthand witness accounts. I do my own research most of the time. Sometimes to pick up stories to do videos on, or just to see what's going on out there. I'll look at Fox, I'll look at CNN, I'll look at Newsmax, I'll look at all of them. I'll even watch. I mean, Scott Jennings has given me everybody a really good reason to watch CNN lately. He's awesome. So anyways, like and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed that, let me know, and let me know your thoughts on all this. I always want to hear what you think in the comments if you're on YouTube and on X. Give me a follow or subscribe to the channel. Like and subscribe, and then turn the bell on for notifications, and then follow me across all social media at Dave Medina PDX, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And then if you want to support my work and invest in me and what I'm doing, everything you're seeing here is funded just by normal people like you and I that have helped support me and get me to the spot, that believe in me. If you want to join the Medina Army, go to davidmedina.com. There's a link in the description, davidmedina.com. If you want to just do a one-time gift, then great. If you can't afford any of that because you're paying $7,000 for a dozen eggs, then I totally understand that. Then just share the video, like and subscribe. It makes me just as happy. Love you guys. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one.